Apple announced the Apple One bundle, right, which sells Apple Arcade, which is video games, TV Plus, which is, I guess it's like their streaming service, iCloud, and most notably music for $15 a month, which is a massive threat to Spotify. Now, they've been back and forth with Spotify for years. Spotify's always been available on the iPhone, but you couldn't use Siri to access Spotify. And even now, you can't set Spotify as your default music app. So if you ask Siri to play a song, it will always default to Apple Music first.
Yeah, you can't set Spotify songs as like ringtones.
Right, yeah.
It's awesome.
They're also mainly annoyed, about the fact that Apple take a 30% cut in everything, in every transaction.
So you were talking two different things, though. Are we talking Apple and Epic, or are we talking Apple and everyone else?
Well, they kind of go together, but let's just talk specifically about Apple and Spotify. So Spotify have been annoyed about the 30% Apple tax, which Epic are also annoyed about. So that's why they started kicking up a fuss last year. But now, in particular, Spotify is saying that it is uncompetitive, anti-competitive for Apple to make this Apple One bundle, which basically makes it, a ridiculous proposition where you can just pay one fee and get way more than Spotify could possibly offer. And it's native on all devices. So I want to know what you guys think about that.
This to me is awesome because it just exposes the complete hypocrisy of sort of the tech industry. Like you guys are about money, just like everybody else. You're Wall Street. You wrap it in you're making the world a better place and opening up barriers and free this and free that and open this and open that. And it's all a bunch of fucking bullshit. Like you guys are two major companies fighting over the scraps in the wilderness. Like that's what we're talking about. All of this stuff is about money, whether it's Apple versus Spotify, Apple versus Epic, it doesn't matter. It's exactly the same thing. They're just two major conglomerates fighting over money. Apple owns the marketplace. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah.
I feel bad for the consumer's the one getting screwed here, because if I bought an iPhone and now I'm pushed towards Apple stuff, but I might want to use something else, I now have to reevaluate what I'm going to use as my main device. And if you've already put that money down, maybe you don't have the means to switch, you're kind of locked in. So it's really the consumer that's getting fucked, no?
Well, they can still use Spotify. It's just Apple are offering a better deal.
Sure, but if I say I do like my Fortnite, I don't, but say I do, and now it's off the phone. It's like, okay, well, I didn't really have a say in that. And maybe that was one of my reasons for owning the Apple ecosystem.
I hate this argument because this argument to me is tech people turning basic business principles upside down. I went to Burger King, but they didn't have Kentucky Fried Chicken on the menu. So they're fucking me because I can't afford to go to Burger King and Kentucky Fried Chicken. So Burger King should get me the Kentucky Fried Chicken, even though I chose to eat at Burger King.
Sure, but what if you went to Burger King and you paid down $1,200 up front because they had Kentucky Fried Chicken at the time, and 6 months into that, they took it away when they said they're going to have it, but you can't get your money back to now go to Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Okay, what if Epic pulls the game off of your iPhone?
Then they pull it. But the company made that decision.
But you're putting it on Apple. I bought the iPhone, and then Apple got rid of Fortnite. What if I bought the iPhone, but Epic chose to leave?
Yeah, the Epic example is like second rate. What Massey said about Spotify, say I do want to use Spotify with my Siri, but Siri prioritizes Apple Music. Shouldn't you have an option to choose what your main app is, your main browser? This is sort of the conversation. Like, I don't know the answer. But if you buy something that's under the guise of, hey, we're a platform, and then a couple years into your relationship with that ecosystem, they go, actually, we're also a software company now, and you're going to use our software. And it's like, well, hold on, that's not why I got into the Apple ecosystem. So if they change it, then yeah, I think that presents some interesting challenges.
I think the customer, at the end of the day, it's going to be a bit more annoying for them. And in the worst case, all of a sudden you can't use the phone for the thing that you've used it for. And no, let's be honest, for kids, if they may have got their mum to buy them an iPhone and then Fortnite gets removed, that's a fucking bummer. It could be their birthday present. They could have leukemia, all this other shit, right? So there's examples like that, and I agree. However, overall, I mean, I just think that Apple can do whatever the fuck they want with the product that they've made. I don't think the Spotify have any say.
Nobody cares until their thing gets affected. So I don't care right now. I don't play Fortnite, so to me it's like, who gives a shit? But say I use Adobe, and one day Apple says, hey, we're no longer allowing Adobe. You're only using Final Cut. You're only using Apple products. It's like nobody cares until their thing gets affected. So I'm kind of like, well, by the time your things, you have a reason to care, it might be too late. So it's kind of like, these are just questions I'm bringing up now. Like, where is the line? Like, what can Apple do?
Apple can do whatever the fuck they want with the product they're selling. I just don't have to buy it. That will just be another reason for me to get a Windows machine.
Sure. And I think the market will respond. I don't think that's even a big deal. I think the market's going to respond. Like, they're going to switch to whatever they're going to switch to. Like, I don't really agree when people say like this and this is a monopoly. Like, no one's making you use an iPhone. Like, you can switch to whatever you want. So I think they're going to have to be careful with how much they push the market, because I don't think Apple's a monopoly. Like, I know people have switched away from Apple and they're fine. Like, their life's unchanged.
I think it's a multifaceted question. Like, do I think Apple's a monopoly? No.
Now, I do think Epic is being scummy. I think Epic is playing the victim when they're not.
Yeah.
Well, of course they are.
They all want it, like Sean says, like it's all about money.
They're punching above their weight class.
Oh, big time. I mean, like, these are just multinational corporations. They're fucking insane. So they moan about the 30% Apple tax. I just watched a video that Spotify put out last year in October. It's called Time to Play Fair. And they do like this, stick figure kind of video. And it's like, we all want to live in a world where, they start to get to your pulling your heartstrings and your morals, but they're just trying to make money. So Spotify, right? Spotify went into a deal with all the music publishers, and they gave them equity positions in Spotify so that the music publishers would give them just a lower rate for playing each track. So they, like as Billy Corgan put it, they pimped out their artists so they could have a stake in a larger business. So they completely fucking the artists over. So they can moan all they want about how they're not playing fair, but they don't play fair either, because it's all about money. These are huge companies that want to take over the world, and they can go suck a dick.
Yeah, they're not people with feelings. They're big ass companies that just want to make money, and people treat it like,
I can't make as much money as I wanted to. I want to fuck the artists, and I want to go and take over what Apple did. Make your own phone, then make your own app store. Do what Apple have done. Change the world in the way Apple have done.
The 30% thing is like Sean is saying, it's that's the cut.
Yeah, this is where I don't understand it. And listen, the cut's the mafia. So when you talk about monopolies and antitrust, one of the main reasons why it's so difficult in the US, especially to deal with it in tech, is because there's no barrier to entry. Hey, there's nothing stopping Fortnite from going out and raising $10 billion in venture capital and making their own phone.
Right. Or Spotify.
And making their own marketplace. They have their own marketplace, and they want to put it on. So they charge 12%. Like, it's so hypocritical. It's such a joke. And then they make like this Orwellian video, which is awesome, by the way. The video's awesome. Let's look at what's the long-term play for Epic. Either it's just marketing, and they're trying to paint themselves as, we're the champion of the underrepresented. We're the billion-dollar company who's the champion because the trillion-dollar company is fucking us.
Exactly.
Or they're trying to negotiate. Potentially, they saw a little chink in the armor with Apple, where Apple cut Amazon a deal when they thought they would never cut anyone a deal. So maybe they're thinking, hey, there's deals out there to be had with Apple. Maybe the 30% isn't written in stone if you're big enough. So to me, it's one of those two things that they're trying to accomplish.
You get a volume discount.
The fact that the 30% doesn't become like 25% or 20% when you reach a certain amount. Like if you're transferring hundreds of millions of dollars through a Swiss bank, say, right? They take like a 10% fee on like the first 100 million. But then after that, they start to drop it because the numbers get so huge that the 10% doesn't make sense anymore. But the key is they have competitors who will drop their fees. The thing about Apple is they don't have any competitors. And them pushing that 30% is one of the major reasons why they're $1 trillion company. And I don't think $1 trillion, it hurts my head to even say it, but like they're not going to budge, especially not for Epic. They'll squash Epic like a bug. They tried to squash them even further. They tried to remove Unreal Engine completely from the App Store.
That's where they're going to get in trouble. Because I understand blocking Fortnite, they don't want to pay. The moment they start affecting other developers, I think that's when the government's going to start paying attention.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Well, that's what the federal judge said initially.
Yeah, he blocked it, right?
He blocked it, but are they going to appeal? But this is where we get into it. I listened to a bunch of people talk about it, and I'm like, well, it's really not fair and it's vindictive. It might be, but does Apple not have the right to say they don't want this company on their platform?
Exactly.
Like, what Apple's trying to do is cut Epic's heart out by forcing the developers to use a different engine. But and then people are like, oh, well, it's unfair. Yeah, it might be. It might be vindictive, but can't Apple decide who's on their platform and who's not? If they say, hey, we don't want to do business with this company anymore because they break contracts, they don't play in good faith, so we don't want to do business with them.
Yeah, they go shit talking them as well publicly.
Right.
Yeah, there's like a UFC feud going on. It's like the press conference shit talk going on between Apple and Epic.
Right.
Why would you want to be in business with somebody who's constantly bad-mouthing?
So the federal government's telling Apple, you have to be in business with this company who's shit-talking you in public and has acted in bad faith in the past on other deals. So you have to stay in this other deal with them. Explain that to me.
It's hard to defend Epic because like they're not hurting for money and they have huge market share amongst game developers and they're still not happy. And you're right, they could have developed their own thing on the side. Hell, they tried. Like the Epic Games store.
Well, they have their own marketplace.
Yeah, it takes the same cut. It's not like they don't take a cut. So the whole thing is just hypocritical. And one thing I heard Lou on YouTube say, was interesting. He said, like, to your point about bulk discounts, when the Apple Store was first created, there was no recurring subscriptions. All apps, if you recall, in like 2009, you paid like $5.99, whatever, you get the app. And the original contract was they take 30% off of that. So no one ever anticipated that there's going to be recurring like Spotify's where you take 30% every month of everything.
Holy shit. So they get 30% of my monthly Spotify subscription.
Everything for every month, every transaction.
They get 30% of everything.
I understand the frustration of other companies because it's not how the store was initially set up. So maybe the contract does need to be revisited, but who's going to bring that to the table? Like it's enough companies would have to take a stand against Apple to say, hey.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, there has to be another marketplace.
Has to be an alternative.
Yeah. Alternative, yeah.
Yeah, like, and the 30% is the mafia. The 30% is
protection money.
Is crazy. The 30% is robbery. Like the 30% is it's worse. It's worse than that. Well, this is one of the reasons why you couldn't buy, up until recently, you couldn't buy books on Audible off the app because Bezos isn't handing them 30%. But Amazon has enough pull where they can be like, yeah, you got to go to the website. You got to go to Amazon.com in order to make purchases. You can't make purchases through the Audible app.
Holy shit, that's why.
Now you can, because now they struck a deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, I didn't realize.
And if you're Apple, maybe the backwoods deal with Amazon is, yeah, we're not going to get into the phone business.
Amazon is in the phone business.
Not really. If you're Apple, what keeps you awake at night is Bezos deciding one day, hey, you know what? You guys want a closed system? That's awesome. I'm going to make a closed system. I'm going to make a phone and put Amazon on his own phone. And if you have the Amazon phone, you get 20% off every purchase. That's what keeps Tim Cook awake at night.
Or you get the phone for free.
Sure.
If you're an Amazon Prime customer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point.
Apple's going to squash Epic literally like a bug.
There's not enough superpowers to keep each other in check. There's just Amazon and Apple.
Yeah, and then Apple will be crying how Amazon's fucking them.
Exactly. Yeah, everyone cries.
They'll be screaming to the federal government how Amazon's effing them.
So you said earlier that there's no barriers to entry, right? But there are. And you know what I'm going to say? What's the barrier to entry?
No, there's not.
Yeah, there's
no barrier to entry. No, there's not.
Yeah, there is. Are you fucking kidding me? All the intellectual property that Apple and Samsung are suing each other over constantly. That's the barrier to entry. IP.
That's not a barrier to entry.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge barrier.
That's not a barrier to entry. No, it's not.
It depends on your perspective. I don't think intellectual property should exist.
It's not in any perspective. Could Amazon make a phone tomorrow?
Yeah. Could I make a phone tomorrow?
Then there's no barrier to entry. You're saying that Google and Apple's IP is a barrier to entry. If Amazon could make it tomorrow, there's not a barrier to entry.
It's a hurdle to entry, and some people can't jump that hurdle.
It's a hurdle. Oh wow, there's a hurdle to starting a multi-international billion-dollar business.
Did
really?
we just swap the word barrier with hurdle? I feel like that means a similar thing.
Yeah, well, a hurdle you can get over.
No, if you go back into antitrust law in the past, if you wanted to start a cable company in Rochester, New York, you couldn't do it because the contract to lay fiber optic cable under the ground has been awarded by the government to one company.
Right.
So you can't do it. You want to start a railroad, you can't do it. You want to start an airline, there's only a certain number of slots at the international airports awarded by the government. You can't do it. There are barriers to entry to be in the marketplace. There's no barrier to entry to be in the smartphone business.
Yeah, there is. I want to make a smartphone tomorrow called the iPhone. I'm going to copy Apple. There's the barrier. The government will shut me down.
Stop.
I knew this was.
What do you mean stop? What do you mean stop? I want to make the same
in his
phone.
back pocket, and he was waiting to pull the.
I did. I couldn't fucking.
He's
wait.
like,
I'm never dropping this one.
Couldn't hold
Never
it.
dropping it. But it's for another podcast. All right. Anything else?
It's like your catchphrase.
It's not.
I just hear you in the background just muttering government. That's all. That's what made me crack up.
Right.
Sean was saying something. I just hear you go government.
Yeah. It's the mafia. It's the fucking government.
It's like
so awesome.
I want to have a soundboard where I push a button like radio DJs do, and it's just your voice going to government.
I have it in my head all the time. It says taxation is theft in Massey's voice.
Yeah,
it's like
we can open up a whole merch store with just sayings from Massey
100%.
for like.
It'd
be an ironic for merch store for like anti-capitalist, anti-IP people to give us money to buy our shirt that says IP is theft.
Yeah,
right.
It'd be amazing. It'd be the best way to make money.
Massey's the ultimate capitalist.
Yeah, I don't believe that's the one thing China's got. They don't believe in IP.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
That's why there's no Chinese Avengers.
Wow.
There should be a Chinese Avengers.
Wow.
Holy shit. That'd be amazing.
That would be awesome.